Welcome to Music Composition's Winter 2026 graduation. I'm Roger Zahab, core founding faculty member, and I would like to introduce my colleagues. Of course, I don't have that. On the Zoom, Carla Kilstead. Rick Bates. Don D. Nicola. And we don't forget Andy Jaffe. And in the room, Michael Early. John Malia. And the residency faculty include Lisa Metzacapa and Rob Frankenberry. I also want to acknowledge the invaluable last-minute service from Jeremy Siskind, who was wonderful, and we have to thank him. Our program chair is Rafael Atias. He will be joining us later. Our assistant program director is Stephanie Myers, without which this could not have happened. And our graduate assistant is Adam Kale, who's been also instrumental. A clap, much applause for him. Jenny Davis was here earlier in the week, also lending a hand. And then we can't forget Tori Richards, who is the Master of Engineering. And Justin Sheed, who I can't figure out which titles are appropriate, but he was our liaison with CalArts and helped make everything possible. So thanks to Justin. We have gathered here, the week seems to have begun one way, and it has ended in quite another, not least of which that we have 8 newly minted Masters of Fine Arts. I've been trying to figure out for 2 weeks what to say at what I feel is a pivotal moment in our history. The people who've come before us, for those who are new to the program, were foundational in the creation of this model. And I'm trying to think who else. There was Jonathan Bailey Holland, who was part of the original cohort, and Diane Moser, whose passing we still mourn. I still hear her voice. And if we were in Vermont, I could show you her smoking lounge outside the door. But central to everything for us was Carol Beatty. And that comes from her being on campus before we even existed. So she gave us the DNA to develop further, and I think we will continue to do that. And I'm also thinking of Devin Barone, who made things possible. So it's a series of threads reaching into the past. I was thinking last night that I used to be able to sit in a cozy corner of the Gary Library at a beautiful old wooden table with a lamp and take down the Oxford English Dictionary, the edition from the 1930s, and nerd out with words to highlight in my keynote. But instead of that, I remembered people instead of words, that certain characters that I have met in my life who gave me words to use, and I've been using them this week. The Egyptian composer Halim al-Dab defined his life as vibration, and sometimes he said, I'm a wave. And it's interesting that waves have been made this week, and the meaning of that term is foundational for any kind of thing in existence. So we are tones, we vibrate, and so exist as flesh and blood. And you could think of our residency as a converging of lines, each one of them both particle and wave and vibrating on their own and coming into a new central interchange. Cass Holman in this panel yesterday had a wonderful picture of a brother and a sister who were sitting near, who were standing very proudly by a thing they constructed out of her materials. And I realized that this week is a replication of what she described, that these brother and sister worked with great focus on taking these materials that she presented to them, and they made a thing. They made this thing with collaboration and full concentration. And then when she asked them to describe what they did, the brother and the sister came up with completely different definitions of what it was. It was magical. And that's what we've been doing all week. We have been thinking that we were going to have one kind of combination of talent, and then people got into the room, and then they developed this synergy and this interconnection and came up with something far greater than any one of us could have imagined. And now our task is to, I don't think we can define it, but we can define what it has done to us. And I think that is probably the biggest takeaway from every residency that we've had, and certainly this one in particular. The creator's understanding is what you go into the process with. We have to have some idea of what we are going to accomplish. And that's a collection of our understanding from the moment we are born, gathering impressions and understandings that determine our personality, each one of us, and who we are as artists when we start making things, when we start playing, in fact, which is art. And we develop a feeling for our materials, and then we develop a feeling for the people we play with. And of course, musicians, the sign of the greatest musicians are that they listen. And we've really demonstrated that. So, there are all of these threads, these converging lines. We've had, for me, and for many people I've spoken with, it has been an unusually intense residency. But when you listen back to the recordings, and when you remember the performances, you will realize that they have been at the highest level of intensity, and it's impossible to even use my usual analogy of a sourdough starter as something that great bread will come out of. I think it is way more dynamic than that. But since new relationships have been formed and we're about to go out into the world, I want to say that the threads remain in our community here, and the next task is to stay in touch and to find out how we can weave together in the larger world. I have no doubt that will happen. I am now we are all going to weave different lines now with some music. I will send you out at the end with my concluding remarks. It's a big question of, there are 3 things on this list. Shall we start with Amy and Brian? The merry-go-round of life. Oh, hold on. I completely didn't write in my notes that I speak and then Carla speaks. And I really need to hear Carla's voice, so let us. This is, when she was here, she could always keep me from going off plan.
That's all right, Roger. I'll keep you on track from afar.
Thank you.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. It's so hard not to be there. With you. What a time this residency was. And it always is. It's always, you can hardly imagine how much happens in 10 days. I just wanted to say share a few thoughts. And I think you guys know by now that anytime I'm really trying to mine my thoughts and feelings and heart and head and wrap them in words and then speak them in this very safe place that I feel with you, it is always underwritten by the Initiative for Normalizing Public Crying. So forgive me if that happens. And try it. It's actually a really lovely thing to try. So I left residency with a memory mosaic made of thousands of moments that you, in any other circumstance, you just couldn't possibly believe that they all happened in the space of a few short days. Rehearsals, conversations, performances, moments of utter hilarity, of true and real vulnerability, of surprising connection, of sharing of information and knowledge. And one particular moment has stuck with me. So let me weave that story. As we sang the other day in the choral workshop, led with such clarity and generosity by Rob Frankenberry, we sang, among many other things, first of all, just even that, how many different kinds of ways were there in those 2 short days of choral workshop to blend our disparate voices together, both actual voices and compositional voices, and just how beautiful it was to sing with you all and to be in the space of trying things. And one of the songs by Sue Hubbard pulled fragments of the new Colossus, the Emma Lazarus poem, which I have just learned was written to help raise money for the building of the plinth on which Lady Liberty would stand a few short years later. Which is just interesting in itself, that poem, that famous poem that is now kind of baked into the DNA of our kind of our concept as a nation. And I know that that's in a complicated moment right now, but to think of her writing that as to help kind of raise funds to support this giant figure that is now the symbol of our nation. And there we were, an ad hoc chorus of souls, connected not by family or geography or where we live, where our religions, our experiences. Of course, there are many connections within those categories, but by the simplest belief made manifest in that poem itself, that we all belong to each other. And in our many diversities, we see ourselves. Give me a minute. And we make a place that is deepened and made so resonant by the many ways we have of sharing and listening and knowing and questioning. And that moment felt like a picture within a picture for me, because there we were pushing and pulling our voices together and apart in a song to manifest a conveyance for these words, these ideas, these ideals, and these fragments of this Emma Lazarus poem, standing in a room called the Wild Beast in a town that is now called Valencia, California, which sits on a land that has a history much longer, much older than any of our knowledge of it, on the unceded ancestral lands of the Chaguayavitam people, the indigenous people of Chaguayanga. There we were in a room called Wild Beast, each of us riding the front-facing edge of our own centuries-long, complicated story of community, home, disruption, travel, immigration, migration, remaking of new communities. And I was really aware of that while we were singing. And I had my phone on, which I normally wouldn't do, but my mom was in surgery at the time, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to get word that everything had gone well, and it did. And sorry, I'm just gonna, this is a joyful occasion, but I wanted to really widen our scope. So this, instead of a family thread buzz that had buzzed my phone, I got a notice that the writer, poet, wife, and mother, Renee Nicole Macklin Good, had been killed in her car by ICE officers in Minneapolis on the streets of our American cities. And suddenly that picture within a picture became instead a split screen. And on one side was the news of this unspeakable violence, the result of a worldview that stokes our human potential for hatred and opposition. And on the other side, this room, this chorus, this community, rooted in a worldview that nourishes our human potential to see each other as a collective made of so many singularities. And I will share with you that at the end of the long meeting that Roger and Raphael and I had with Andrew and several members of the cabinet level staff, I shared that story. And just as a way of saying that the soft work of art and the soft work of what we do as communities and the very difficult work that the school does to hold our community together is so critical now, even more than ever. And I think, given in Andrew's email to us the next morning, I believe that story was a part of a shift in the way that our program is going to be able to move forward. So I would actually like to make a little collection of moments that each of you might remember and take away from this residency, because I think it's helpful to share these things that are so small and so powerful, so momentary maybe, and so powerful. So if any of you here that have been with us this residency want to share those, send me a memory. I'm going to put a little mosaic together to share with the people that help us run our program that don't get to be with us for these 10 days. And I wanted to read quickly, and then I'll cede the microphone. I wanted to read this Emma Lazarus poem, because it had been a while since I'd read it. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And just very briefly, there are many absences that we felt very deeply in this residency, and Roger just named a few, and we've been speaking about how you manifest absence. How do you talk about absence? And I just want to say that for all of you that are not with us, Andy Jaffe, John Fitzrogers, Ravi Krishnaswamy, Diane Moser, Devin, Sarah Madru, Carol, you are always with us. Your DNA is literally baked into the way we think and feel and the way we keep containers together. Carol, for us, you will always be that colossus, that mighty woman with mild eyes and a torch that glows a worldwide welcome. So, on the subject of doors and gates and portals, I wanted to share with you, graduating students, who I am so proud of. This one last thought by writer Susan Sontag, who said, when she was speaking about her own kind of the trajectory of her own writing, she said, I actually don't think I've changed, but my access to myself has changed. I think I was going through a kind of narrow door, and now I'm going through a big, wide gate, and I'm able to put a lot more of what I know and feel into my books. And I have seen each of you over your semesters here with us. I have seen each of you start with, of course, knowing who you are and coming here with that instinct to widen the door in which you let yourself walk through creatively and widen your scope of what you ask of yourself and your process and your music. And that constant deepening and expanding, like so many interconnected universes. Ben, Brian, Brendan, Grant, Amy, Michael, Sarah, you have all changed us. You've deepened and expanded our universe, and echoes of not just your music, but your care and your curiosity will be resounding with us always. And I can't wait to see you guys in the future, and we will keep you close. So please keep us close.
yeah. And then, shall I do Hondo and then you get yours? This is a bit of celebratory melancholy called Intellicron Duo. So, in the Lebanese fashion, it's about absence and memory and how it supports us in the future. Okay.
me, Tori. This is a song written by a dear friend of mine. His name is Brad Barr, and one of my biggest inspirations musically, and it's called Song That I Heard. In the same reckless city where great Antonio died, on the island in the river with a mountain at its side, I came to scatter ashes of the bridges that I burned, and to know the name of the song that I heard. Yeah, I know the name of the song that I heard. Like a moonlight mathematician, I subtracted my concerns, and I multiplied my options and divided my returns. I sacrificed the angel who was tugging at my shirt. I was already claimed by the song that I heard. Yeah, already chained to the song I heard. From the corner of my eye, I caught the shadow of a girl, but my shoes were tied together and my face was in the dirt. Her gentle eyes said everything before she said a word, and I knew I was changed by the song that I heard. Yeah, I knew right away by the song that I heard. In the cult of desperation, we stayed just behind the curve, and no one here admits we get more than we deserve. Well, I was born a first child, she was born a third. We were already named by the songs that we heard. Yeah, already claimed by the songs we heard. Did I make you out a phoenix from the ashes of a bird? And did we build our palace and watch it as it burned? It's kind of like that lesson that had to be unlearned, like a fool maker, fall taker, forsaker, breaker, earthquaker, soul shaker, soothsayer, moon payer, sun slayer, yea sayer, get changed by the songs we heard.
Thank you for that, all of you, for that ideal music. Now the student portraits and faculty testimonials. Brian Schenker Adler will be spoken of by Lisa Mezzacai.
Brian, I have to start with just wow, because what a semester this has been. And also what a trajectory you've been on in your 3 semesters here. It's always a marvel to me as a faculty member when students enter the program who already have robust established careers as performers and composers, and I wonder, are they pretty solved already? What can we offer them? Are they open to discovery, to transformation, to learning something new about themselves? Do they have the will or the nerve to deconstruct some of their habits, their ways of working, what they think they know, to get at a bigger artistic truth? This is very uncomfortable terrain, but in our time together, I watched you choose the tough path over and over again, always lured by the promise of growth and information and wisdom. This to me is the very core of the artist path, and it made it super inspiring for me to be your advisor. It was thrilling to be your sounding board this semester as you navigated your life on multiple terrains, recording projects, composing work, side person work, teaching commitments, communications and booking musicians, grant proposals, publicity work, collaborations with presenters and partners, all while writing a really fantastic thesis paper. You're in the belly of the beast right now in your life, all cylinders firing. And even though it can seem scattered and overwhelming at times to operate on all these levels simultaneously over all this terrain, all I can say is I find that you manage it with grace and generosity and humor. Your thesis project, Dance of the Cephalopod, is a fearless and bold and ambitious work, and it also operates on multiple levels. It's a compelling combination to me of grounded and substantial, and also conceptual and aspirational. I mean, just this week we saw 3 iterations of this crazy piece. The solo for a drum set, the premiere of the chamber quartet, and also the interactive invitational body percussion component. There are more, there's a website. In this series of compositions and actions and writings, you're doing some real work. You're alerting us to this environmental threat, to this remarkable creature, the octopus. And you're using this urgent situation as a metaphor, as an artist, for collaboration and sharing and teaching and learning and reflecting and acting. This is the stuff. I think that through creating this many-limbed work, you also found new ways to conceptualize and understand your own practice. So like Eureka, it paid off, whatever that means. You're doing it. I also want to acknowledge your role in this program as a musician and ensemble leader before you even joined us as a student. It's exciting to me to think about all the ways you have had a hand in shaping and nurturing the work of so many of our students who've passed through, and the ways that your values and the program's values have co-evolved over these years. It's a really rich synergy, and I think your contribution on that level also means so much to us. We've spoken at length about your next steps and ways you might continue to weave together all these aspects of your creative vision and artistic life. I feel like whatever path you choose next, I know that you are a person who will always make really good things happen. Things that the world needs. So many of your values about presence, silence, listening, collectivity, responsibility, they're so against the grain of our world right now. So it's not going to be easy. But I urge you to please keep doing what you're doing, and we will all be ready to listen, always. What are we going to listen to now?
We're going to listen to a combination that my son Nels put together of Dance of the Cephalopod for concert percussion, and then Echoes of the Gomero played by Rasa String Quartet.
Oh.
Don DeNicola will speak for Jay Micah.
Jay, can't see you. But I have a few words for you. I remember the first time we met in Colorado. You explained to me in detail the story behind your first record, Ruby's Castle Island.
Yes.
Yes. After you screened a video for the title track, starring your young daughter, you captured our imagination. I was only able really to kibitz with you on Ruby as the project was half done, almost in the can. Fast forward a year, and suddenly there we were sitting outside CalArts, talking about your next record, The Architect. This was to be fleshed out in great detail. We went through every aspect of the story, including lyrics. You invited me to accompany you through the entire process. Having gotten to know you over the last 2 years, I find myself wondering what's next. The Architect 2? The Anarchist? No, I've got it. The Alchemist. That is my experience of your process. You take different selected elements, mix them, and then transform them into a new living creation. In your final semester with Roger, you allowed yourself to be the fodder of your latest transformation. A transformation from someone who knows well what he knows into someone who now knows what he didn't know. And that is the ancient language of written music. Whether or not you decide to utilize this newly discovered language, it will always be there for you, available as yet another element for you to transform into your next creation, the next chapter of your life. Apropos of this process, I'd like to leave you with a poem by Emily Dickinson. Hopefully I can do it justice here. This world is not conclusion. A species stands beyond, invisible as music, but positive as sound. It beckons and it baffles. Philosophy? Don't know. And through a riddle at the last, sagacity must go. To guess it puzzles scholars. To gain it, men have borne contempt of generations and crucifixion shown. Faith slips and laughs and rallies, blushes if any see, plucks at a twig of evidence, and asks a vein the way. Much gesture from the pulpit, strong hallelujahs roll. Narcotics cannot still the tooth that nibbles at the soul. Thanks for the great hang, Jay.
And what will we hear?
This is a few short excerpts, pieces of the 2 albums I made here, Ruby's Castle and The Fall of Neon, my thesis project.
you. Carla Kilstead has contributed a video for Sarah.
It's a recording.
A recording, not a video. Audio recording.
Sarah, hi, it's Carla. I'm speaking quietly because there's some sleeping people upstairs at my house here. I hope you can hear me. So, as I was hurtling across the sky, away from you guys, sadly, I tried to put words to my thoughts and then string those words coherently into sentences and then corral those sentences into paragraphs that somehow together encapsulate what I've witnessed about you, your music, your journey here with us, your depth and warmth and your tenderness and ferocity and the magic that is just how music simply pours out of you. Well, that failed. So first, I let go of the organized paragraph part of my mission, and I was left with a pile of sentences that had emerged from the process, entirely evading coherence. So here's 4 of them in no particular order. Number 1, sometimes I'm afraid of swimming in the ocean, not because of sharks, but because I might be swept up forever in the beauty and oneness of it all. 2, I am so moved by the gentle dissonance between the tender discomfort that you carry with you when you're not singing and the engulfing, expansive comfort that I feel when I'm in the swirl of your songs. Number 3, I love how the word glistening contains the word listening. Number 4, I remember that moment when I looked back and my dad no longer had his hand on the glittering banana seat of my bike. And I realized that it was just me balancing myself on 2 wheels careening across the earth, and I could dance with gravity and momentum all on my own, and probably was and had been for some time. So as I was zoning out, mesmerized by the strange experience we modern humans can have of seeing a blanket of clouds from above, a little melody wound its way into my ears. And I realized that maybe song is the form I need. So in the spirit of the collective exercises in harmonization and reharmonization that we've had fun with this week, thank you, Jeremy Siskind and Roger and Mike and everyone. I want to give you all a little homework. Here's a melody for Sarah, looking for a harmonic habitat. It's just 1 verse. Anyone's welcome to write another. Starts on E flat. You are ocean, overflowing tides and shadows and glistening beads of sunshine, pulling colors from my heart. That's it. I said glistening instead of glittering. No, I meant to say glistening, didn't I? Because there's the listening. Well, that's all I really wanted to say. Sarah, I may have been your mentor for a time here, but it's truly been my great honor to become your lifelong friend. I've loved holding your hand for parts of your journey deeper into the wonderful wilderness of your creativity. But really, I just pointed to a bird here and there, or showed you a different way to tie a knot, maybe. You've always been leading the way. It just didn't always feel like it to you. Because here's the trick. While we were facing forward, the journey was actually backwards to every Sarah that you have ever been. And they are all wonderful. And they are all now gathered with you here in this room. And they are all so proud. And so am I. This message has obviously been brought to you by our
frequent sponsor the initiative to normalize public crying.
And what will we hear, Sarah? Thank you, Carla. What will we hear?
I selected a song that I presented, I think, 2 residencies ago here, called How Long My Dear, and I decided to choose the sort of little Logic demo that I made with Dawn, who I miss so much. Hi, Dawn. Apologies for the big strings.
Your life and all the work you've done, your full moon undiscovered. But who are you to feel this way? Your breath is undercover. How long, my dear? How long, my dear? You're changing so much you can't reach. You're changing all your energy. You're not the same. Is it meant to be?
For Brendan Roshall, Donda Nicola will speak first.
Hey, Brendan, it's great to see you. Best dressed man in the house for sure, with that tie on. I don't know why this came out. As I wrote it down, it came out as a letter. So it's kind of a love letter. So, dear Brendan, thank you. Thank you for the times we spent together exploring the trombone, the chimbasso, the guitar, and some film scoring, to mention a few. But what stands out most for me was that early autumn afternoon we spent at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. As we wandered through the galleries, there was a constant flow and exchange of ideas, i.e. the different works, until we arrived at Miro's Birth of the World. That painting is as tall as either of us, and we were both caught up short, staring, being simultaneously attracted and befuddled by what the artist had created 100 years hence. Now, every time I see that painting, I will remember that day. Yes, that is the value of art, to pin us in a moment, a recurring drama that is echoed in our souls. Thank you. And here's to the certainty of your successful future.
And now words from Rick Bates.
Okay, I'm going to tell it to you straight. I've had hundreds of students, and I've never had one who took such an interest in Brazilian music that he taught himself Portuguese. I happen to know Portuguese, having lived in Brazil for a couple of years as a teenager. Brendan was not faking it. He also took it upon himself to research silent Brazilian films and found one from 1931 to score as his semester project in the fall of 2024. He cut the film down to 7 minutes to fit into the time parameter of semester projects and scored it for Anna's Ghost. The film had Portuguese subtitles indicating what the characters were saying. I offered to translate for Brendan's program notes, But he was like, no, Professor Bates, that's okay, I got this. And I have to say, his translation was better than mine, more idiomatic and more accurate. Look at the motivation involved here, the research, the commitment. And the music was absolutely, authentically Brazilian, as sophisticated harmonically and rhythmically as they come. I conducted the ensemble live to picture that time around. The following semester, Brinton repeated the task with a new silent film and conducted himself. Brinton visited me in New York that same summer that he saw Dawn. He was in town because he was honored by the ensemble contemporaneous, who chose one of his compositions to workshop and perform. He and I went to the Philharmonic in Central Park with Dudamel conducting, and fireworks afterwards. It was one of those scintillating New York nights. The whole city in the park, good vibes, amazing music. In fact, there was a cuatro concerto, that's a 4-string Spanish guitar, with Master Jorge Glem, which riled the entire audience up, even more so than Tchaikovsky's Fourth and Stravinsky's Firebird. And this inspired Brinton to compose for his master's thesis, Tuesday Night's Blazing Guitar Concerto, played by Anna's Ghost. Brinton is soulful, perceptive, super smart, and extremely talented. He's also young, and that's an advantage. It gives you time to find your way, perhaps, out into the greater, multifaceted world of music creation. You have the ability to make it, Brinton. Not everyone will learn a language because they love the culture and their music. And many people are interested in film scoring, but not many will actually find a film, edit it down, and score it. And I have to say there are very few places with the openly creative environment of VCFA where you have had the opportunity to immerse yourself in a vibrantly percolating and inviting musical soup. But they do exist, so keep attaching yourself to people like us in a perpetual state of invention, always in a zone of artistic honesty. What I'm observing is that people respond to your music, Brendan. So follow the positive relationships and follow your instincts and desires, letting your gifts continue to guide you. You will find your way, and please know that we will always be there to help you long after you graduate. Besides, what does it mean to graduate? From the Latin, gradus, meaning step. Related words, gradual, aggressive, egress, congress. So here I go. Move gradually when you have to, aggressively or proactively when opportunity presents. Take your egress when it's time to move on. Move in congress with those you vibe with and love. And congratulations on graduating, on stepping to that next level. Let's make sure we don't lose each other on the journey.
I'm going to merge my words with Andy Jaffe's, who wanted to say something. Andy writes, I will always remember our semester together and greatly value our continuing relationship ever since your intellectual curiosity and love of Brazilian music culture and language had a profound influence on your development, as does your mastery of music, software, and related technology. You've got an understanding of the way cultural context drives the development of all music and the 21st century tools to reify your personal composition voice. I look forward to watching your continuing development. And all I need to add to my beloved colleagues is that I have heard your voice and it is unforgettable. What shall we hear?
We will be hearing a film scoring that I did with fellow student Andrew Holden, Ghosts That Sold Memories.
You feel time move too fast. someone we love dies, we think about the past more than the future. You feel alone? Our memories fade. The person that matters most to us dies. We think about everything we wish we had done, and yet there is nothing we would have changed.
Mike Early will speak to Ben's time.
This is a weird place to be sitting.
It is. Oh, here. Hi, Ben.
Hey, man. It's been a crazy year for you, for sure, for the world, for our country. I can't believe it was a year ago we sat outside the wild beast, started talking about what you wanted to do. We talked about the dawn of everything, talked about anarchism, social organization. Eventually we got to music, I think, at some point. It's what a trip it's been this year with you. You came to me fully tenderized by Roger and Carla and Rick. So I feel like I wasn't a whole lot more to say, really. And it just really felt like having a conversation with a colleague most of the time. You have an incredible pair of ears. You already came with a degree in audio engineering, and I've never seen someone work in the studio so effectively as you have, and so quickly. I feel like the thing you struggle with most, I think you would agree, was your paper, which became this albatross around your neck as you wrestled with Georges Bataille and many other philosophers who are way above my head. You know, the moment of realization for you that, hey, I don't have to do this. I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter, and all of that stuff informed what you'd made, I think in a very deep way. But to see all the music just pouring out of you, the middle of this year, is just really inspiring. And of course you've got great ears, but let's talk about eyes. Because, as we know, your paper, as it turned out, we were still struggling with it pretty late in the game. And at some point, one of us suggested, well, how about we make it into liner notes? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, Ben. And that's when things, I think, really clicked. You managed to get some Georges Bataille in there anyway. So you should, if you get a chance, when his album comes out, check out the liner notes. But this image, which I did not know was very powerful, of the eye being kind of the window to the soul, so it's very intimate, but it's also this kind of object of disgust. If you take out the eye and experience it as an object and not as a part of a human being. And I think the way you kind of engage with that imagery in those notes really kind of opened my eyes a little bit into your process and the way you think about things. I'm rambling a little bit here, but I really... That's what the cannibal delicacy is.
Yeah, thank you.
You pop
Yes.
the eye.
Yeah. So that ties into your title.
From R.L. Stevenson, if you want to, yeah.
I guess that really struck me and really kind of tied together all of the stuff you were doing. And I think the fact that your songwriting for me, and maybe this is low-hanging fruit, but I feel like it ties into Woody Guthrie. And one of the album liner notes I sent to you was Woody Guthrie's Dust Bowl Ballads. He spent
I don't know how long, months, years, living with the folks from Oklahoma who had to move out to California during the Dust Bowl in the 30s. And he really kind of learned who they were, kind of became one of them in a way, even though he wasn't from there. Learned their music, learned their stories, and put out the Dust Bowl ballads. And the liner note starts with something I think we could say. You could have opened your thing with this if you didn't feel like you were just ripping them off. But you know, these songs are not about me, and the songs are about you. Your songs are about you, but they're also not about you. And I think that you walk that fine line of connecting as an artist from the individual to the society that we live in, and turning our eye on those things that so many people ignore. And I think I'm gonna stop there because I'm gonna stop crying. So thank you, Ben. I feel like I've learned so much from you. Keep those eyes open. And what are we gonna hear?
We're going to hear a minute from my second semester piece I wrote with Carla. It's called Eyes for Weeping. And this is the third movement, which is called George and the Plain.
Now, Lisa Mazzucapo will speak to Amy.
I did start typing these out so that I can keep myself together. Amy, I'm sure I am not the first person in your life to say that you are a force of nature. You're full of ideas and energy and principles. And also, you have these skills that make so much more happen than is actually humanly possible. Watching you over a semester, I don't understand. It's like I had 3 students in one. It's been fascinating also to watch the ways that your training and work as a nurse anesthetist informs you as what you do as an artist. You're so clear-eyed and you're so decisive. I actually don't believe that there's our day jobs and our artistic lives. I think so many of us weave these two things together and we can't separate them out. And I think that's one of the things that's really fascinating about you as an artist, that you're these strong things together. It's been a joy for me to watch you move through this program, putting all these powers to the service of your music. You're such an extraordinary ambassador for tango. In the ways you're so deeply informed about its history and want to transmit its values, in the ways you're committed to putting it in conversation with other musical genres and languages, and also the ways you put into practice in your work its principles of innovation and creativity. We have all learned so much about tango by having you as a student and colleague in the program. It's like there's like a mini course we've all taken as part of being your colleague and interacting with you. We're grateful for it. Not only are you a composer and instrumentalist who brilliantly navigates this really male-dominated field of tango, but outside of tango, you're also navigating this contemporary chamber music world that might not always understand where you're coming from and the things that matter to you in that genre. So you're fighting these battles on many fronts, but with so much elegance and so much clarity and passion. One of your fantastic traits is you're undaunted by setbacks. And every time you put yourself out there, you're willing to learn, refine the plan, and go at it again. I'm so inspired by that. The way you jump into new experiences, never allow yourself to get paralyzed by the insecurities and fear and setbacks that are real for all of us. I think you saw the fruits of this persistence and fearlessness this residency with that gorgeous performance of your thesis piece, composition by Tangle of Rainbows. I actually got goosebumps just thinking about it. Also, you're an ethnographer and a historian. In your thesis paper, you research and interview your mentors and heroes in this music, seeking to tell their stories so that they can continue to inform the music's future. You take this responsibility. You're not just passing through as a lone wolf in your music. In your compositions, you're doing the same thing. You're reflecting on what you've inherited musically so that you can carry the genre forward, deeply informed by what's come before. I so admire the way that you are always honoring and balancing this relationship of the past while also looking ahead, and always with this conviction and passion. No matter how far you go on your path, and I know you're very clear about it. I've only been doing this for a handful of years. I believe you'll always be a student. You're never going to lose that feeling of being new, because you're so curious and you're so hungry to go deeper and farther, and you're never quite satisfied. I saw that in you immediately when we first met. It's like, another person who's hungry and dissatisfied. And I think that's so fantastic, because it means that you're always going to be building on top of what you've learned and not afraid to sometimes just clear the table and make a mess. I know you had one more movement in mind to complete this long suite of material you created in the program, the tango! And I cannot wait to hear it, so you better send it as soon as you finish it and premiere it. Well, I think we'll all want to hear that, and also anything that comes next. What are we going to listen to?
A selection of 3 pieces at my time here. De darles un contexto, 0 segundos, and Noches de Sol.
Next, Rick and Mike and I will speak about Michael Davis. Rick?
Excuse me, Mike asked me to just provide a few quotes, so I'll try to keep this short. Michael, it was a great pleasure working with you this past semester. I love how you set your mind to a project and follow it through according to its own principles, unleashing your unique creativity in whatever the piece demands of you. In Paper Wing for flute and piano, premiered the other night with Tangle of Rainbows, not only did you embody the sense of a fly trying to take wing, with your flute multiphonics serving as a sonic metaphor for the transparent texture of an insect's wing. You further embodied a greater empathy for our own human ultimate struggle. In Indivisible, written as part of your grant from VCFA's Center for Arts and Social Justice, you also depicted the struggle and hope inherent in our culture's drive for equity and inclusion in a too often inequitable and exclusive world. I could go on, but I just want to say that I'm happy to see you in front of everyone today, earning your MFA in music composition, because it is very well deserved. And the world deserves to know Michael Davis and his music, because his music is the reflection of a beautiful and sensitive soul, responsive to the world around it and adding a voice that deserves to be heard. Please keep your music coming and please stay in touch.
Hi, Michael. I just have a few things to add. I'll let Roger finish up. But I just want to say you've always been such a quiet and calm presence in the room. And I always appreciate seeing you there. This residency in particular, your sky blue hoodie has kind of always like lit up the room. And I'm always, I know you're not wearing it now. The sweatshirt you wear. I always enjoy. Oh, there's Michael. I see bright blue over there. When we worked together, I was always struck by how every time I would say something, you would kind of pause, not for long, but just a little bit, and I could tell you were thinking, like very thoughtfully about whatever it was, and trying to like turn it over. And I think you do that in your compositions too, and kind of work through whatever idea you're wrestling with at the moment. The semester we worked together, you were working in your string quartet, and I was struck by how you combined a sort of formalist structure, you were using 12 tones at the time, with the sort of very playfulness of a ping pong tournament, a ping pong match, which was a very striking image, and I feel like it's a good example of the art of play in practice in art. I am always struck by how carefully your attention to detail comes through in everything that you do, and please stay in touch, and we'll miss you.
The only thing I can add is that I have been struck by the attention to detail that is hidden by sort of a feeling of not wanting to make a fuss about the attention to detail, which is a very interesting thing for a composer. You have such vast experience in choral singing and flute playing, and you know such a wide swath of music, and when you approach any project, it's like there's so many things to consider. And in a way, you're like a really great poker player. You keep your cards close to your chest. And yet what comes out is so fully realized and very often joyful and just really beautifully managed and memorable. What will we hear?
My latest Christmas song, a bit of an irreverent song called Holiday Kiss.
It's apropos to insist on an innocent holiday kiss. Just a little mistletoe, no one says no, 'cause that's the rule. Cool, it's a rule, though there are many ways to say happy holidays. There's a way that I want to say happy holidays to you. Though there are many ways to say happy holidays, there's a way that I want to say happy holidays to you. Yeah, there's a way that I want to say happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. Happy holidays to you. Happy holidays to you. Happy holidays. And that goes over for you.
And the last name on this list is Grant Tamby, and Rick and I will say a few words. Rick?
It has been a pleasure knowing and working with Grant Hamby over the past 2 years. Sorry for the sirens, I'm in New York. Here's a guy who has at least one doctorate, I think in philosophy Honestly, it's hard to keep track, but his multiple degrees, also in English literature, are the hallmark of a person with an extraordinary mind. Grant's curiosity and knowledge, his breadth of interest are formidable. Who else can talk about Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, Wittgenstein, and Kierkegaard one day and hold a weekly manga night in his house the next? Have rehearsals on oboe in not one but 3 orchestras in his hometown of Columbia, South Carolina, having picked up the instrument after 30 years of not touching it. All the while working on a master's degree at VCFA, composing a piece as astonishingly virtuosic as the work Tangle of Rainbows premiered the other night. I would like to quote from Grant's thesis paper. It is incumbent on artists to form, as it were, a new avant-garde or avant-gardes, devoted to countering the dominant set of discourses. This new eruption need not be some formalist rehash, but rather create a space in which a multiplicity of expression and content converge to challenge the tyranny of normativity. Sorry. Interesting, Grant. I think you certainly have challenged the tyranny of normativity in your last piece, which erupted like a volcano in the Roy H. Disney Hall. And even from my safe perch in my comfortable armchair in my living room, zooming in, I was shaking. I was shaking because besides the fact that you had so much fun with that music, I felt that you found your voice, which was uncompromisingly enthusiastic, dance-like, brazenly chaotic, and full of I don't give a fuck energy, all the while giving innumerable fucks about all the philosophical issues you care about and enumerate in your thesis paper, such as, sorry, here's another quote, coming to terms with one's own desires by opening up to one's desire regardless of societal strictures. Grant, you got a lot from VCFA, but you gave as much as you got. And I feel we are all the beneficiaries of your intellectual, spiritual, and creative largesse. So, dude, you don't have to apologize for your writing style. He apologized in an email to me about his writing style. He called it turgid.
Nonsense.
It's not really. I mean, what does that mean? Turgid is from the Latin turgidus, which has come to mean language that is pompous, overly ornate, and complex. Well, I find your writing very interesting and fascinating to follow. You're a good writer, Grant. But I have to say you're a better composer. This is what you were born to do. It's an honor to witness this rebirth, and I look forward to following you on your compositional adventure all the way. So thank you for all you have given to us at VCFA, and for your friendship, and for your fellowship. And please send me your next piece.
You can see, Grant, that you have infected Rick with your philosophical investigations. I will say that I have never had to read so many books working with a student, including Kierkegaard, 2 different volumes, and who was that French philosopher that you, besides Georges Bataille? Deleuze, yes, Deleuzian aesthetics and Deleuze. So I learned quite a bit, and then we had a wonderful semester with your song cycle, and it speaks of your care for the art of singing and music and poetry, that you combined all of them in this beautiful setting of EQ. So you are indeed a Nico sensei. What will we hear?
Okay, so for my 1 minute segment, it's from my second residency. It's Awakened from a Dream, which I wrote under the tutelage of John Fitzrogers, without whose kind encouragement I would have never come to this very, very special community.
That's a shout out to John Fitzrogers. We miss him very much. And now, the awarding of degrees. The degree, the diploma of Brian Shankar Adler will be presented by Nels David Adler. The diploma of J. Micah will be presented by Roger Zahab.
Never heard of that.
The diploma for Brendan Roshall will be presented by Tia McCarthy.
Without this lady here, my scores would not look as good as they do.
Well, you know what, Jay? I think.
Yeah.
We've always had 2 or 3 people that
Let's do it all again.
Okay, I love this. Thank you. Amy Solera, if we can find the diploma, will be presented by John Malley. Thank you. Ben Stein diploma will be presented by Roger Zahab, or Tiger. It feels that it should be done in order. Sarah Azrael will be presented by one of her parents.
Both.
The diploma of Michael Davis will be presented by Roger Zahab. Again, really hogging the stage. And the diploma of Grant Hanby will be presented by Roger.
Busy guy.
I think that the sum total of all our words really speaks to the resonances we've been able to create. It really feels like that drone zone that we had in the Wild Beast. So let us go forth and build on the waves that we've created with each other. And I know you will stay in touch, and I will stay in touch with you. And let us make as much glorious noise as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go forth and prosper.